Hello one and all, Jasper here, and we did it. We made it to the final episode of House of the Dragon. This was an interesting show. It had its incredible heights and some rather obnoxious lows, but luckily, even at its worst, it never stunk as bad as Season 8 of Game of Thrones. I plan on giving my thoughts on the show as a whole in a future episode, as well as share my thoughts with DJ Fella in a podcast format coming out soon. If you don't want to miss it, then make sure to subscribe, but I won't waste any more of your time. Let's jump into the final episode of Hot D. This is a bit of a continuation of the previous episode, but it was not Rhaenys that Rhaenyra heard about Aegon's coronation. It was likely by crows, as the Greens did eventually announce the death of Viserys and the crowning of Aegon. This news did somehow push Rhaenyra into a rage-filled early delivery process, and this may surprise some of you, but the birth in the books is much more vulgar, violent, and angry. Shouting and cursing, wanting the gods to bring their wrath down on her half-siblings and Alicent, along with how she would torture them before letting them die. Mushroom says she cursed the child inside her as well, but more disturbingly, clawed at her stomach, screaming that it was a monster and how it needed to get out. It did come out, though, stillborn, and in a much more disturbing manner in the books. It had a hole where its heart should have been, and a scaled tail like that of a lizard or a dragon. It was a girl, and she was named Visenya. As this is going on, Daemon is being Daemon, threatening the two Kingsguard members to swear loyalty or die. This could have happened, but the confusing thing is Sir Stefan here, the knight with hair. He claims he served under King Viserys, but also his grandfather King Jaehaerys. This is wrong for a few reasons. He was never mentioned during the Old King's reign, but if he had served, that would make him the most senior member of the Kingsguard. He can't be, as he was not chosen to be the Lord Commander when Harold Westerling passed away in the books, as it was instead given to Criston Cole. Now, you can wave this away in the show, as they kept Harold alive for no reason, as far as I'm aware, except that he had served the Old King, then he would be more experienced than Harold, and thus should have been named as the Lord Commander instead of him during Viserys' reign. So many issues, and all because they had this one guy say an extra line. Finally, I mentioned this in the last video, but Stefan being on Dragonstone is inaccurate. He was actually in King's Landing, and he was the one to steal the crown for Rhaenyra. I guess they are going to keep his super important scene in the next season. I wonder if they're going to make it a comedic bit, because they very much could. Next, we get to see the painted table. Well, actually, we've seen it several times, but it being more prominent in this scene, I feel like I can actually talk about it now. First off, I want to say how cool it is how they use the candles underneath the table to illuminate the rivers, castles, and names on the map, because naturally those are more thin than the rest of the table. I slightly question if it's a good idea to put a bunch of fire below a wooden table, but this checks out for me because I think it's cool. However, it should be noted this table is much too small. In the books, the damn thing is 50 feet long and 25 feet wide, though George is notorious for being terrible with numbers, so I'm willing to give the show a break on shrinking it down. I just realized that table is bigger than my home. The talk is for the most part perfectly fine, but I do need to nitpick, as that's why you clicked on the video. Daemon mentions melees when listing dragons they command. However, at this point in the show, the Valyrian support is up in the air, and Rhaenys has seemed to make it obvious that she doesn't intend to fight for them. In the books, Valyrian support is quite obvious. Hell, it isn't even questioned. After all, Jaehaerys and Lucerys, even if they are bastards, are betrothed to Corlys' granddaughters, so this will they won't they is kinda bullshit. Daemon also comes off as kind of an idiot. He lists about all the dragons they have, but seems to fail to mention only 4 of them are really fit for battle, those being the first 3 he mentioned and Vermax ridden by Jaehaerys, as all the others are far too small to be counted on in dragon combat. Rhaenyra also comes off as an idiot because she doesn't point this out to him, or that she has just shat out a scaled monster baby and won't be able to ride her dragon into battle anytime soon. Daemon also gets the number of enemy dragons wrong, at least compared to the books, as the Greens have 4. He doesn't name any of them, but there are 2 options as to what dragons have been cut. The first is Dreamfire, ridden by Helaena Targaryen, or, how do you pronounce this? Tessarion? Anyways, ridden by Daeron Targaryen, the 4th child of Queen Alicent, who at first I thought was cut because there has been no mention of him, but apparently he's likely to make an appearance in Season 2, so we'll see how this plays out. Shit, here comes Otto. Why do you keep doing these really dumb parlays? Such a parlay did happen, but Otto was not dumb enough to go himself. Instead, the Grand Maester was sent who, by Rhaenyra's command, had his chain of office stripped from him and given to her own maester. Also, I really hate this scene. Otto, the last time you did this, you only came out ahead because Rhaenyra was on your side. Now she isn't. Second, why the fuck does Rhaenyra just get off her dragon and walk through them? I get this is a parlay and they're not supposed to kill each other, but you're an idiot to put that to the test. We get another War Council scene where Rhaenyra actually considered the offer made by the Greens. In the books, there is no such talk. Rhaenyra had no intention of surrendering. The crown was hers by right, and she intended to get it. We see Corlys recovering from his injuries, and he intends to be neutral, but it's Rhaenys who convinces him to support the Blacks. It's like he forgot that his grandkids are betrothed into this political family, and his fake grandchildren are in line to inherit everything he owns. Also, why does Rhaenys suddenly care about those bastard kids? Never beforehand did she, and now she's decided to support the Blacks. I bet the dumb bitch wishes she killed the Greens when she had the chance. Not a war you wanted to start, my ass. We're getting close to the end, just a few more moments. Lucerys lands at Storm's End to treat with the Baratheons, but it goes very similar to the books. However, they removed a moment where one of the Baratheon girls, who was insulted that Aemon did not choose her to wed, said this to him when Lucerys left the room. Did he cut out your eye, or one of your balls? I'm glad you did not choose me. I wanted a man with all his parts.
Emotional damage!
This sends him into a bit of a rage as he flies after Lucerys and kills him. I can't say showing the death as an accident is inaccurate, but I can say that the books sure don't give that vibe, and it never crossed my mind that Aemon didn't intend to kill Lucerys. It's a change I am conflicted with. I don't hate it, but I don't love it, so I think I'll need some time to think on it. But with that, those are all the changes that I noticed while watching. Are there any more that you feel deserve to be pointed out or that I missed? Make sure to comment down below, but with that, it's past midnight for me, so I need to get some sleep. Be safe, and I hope you all have a good night.